Okay, everybody, I would like to say thank you for joining us on this toxin-free living call tonight. I'm just really grateful that you guys are here and that you've given us your time. We're going to try and get through all the information we want to cover and be respectful of everybody's time, because we're just really glad that you hopped on with us, and we don't want to take advantage of your generosity in that way. So we're going to get down to business. My name is Hannah Johnson. I have been doing Young Living for 3.5 years, and I just absolutely love the Young Living lifestyle and the concept of having a toxin-free home. So the purpose of tonight's class is to shed truths on some topics within our culture that I think are often hidden. Today we're taught that conditions like allergies and skin conditions, headaches, asthma, that things like that are normal, when in fact they're not actually normal. They are caused sometimes genetically, yes, but oftentimes by our environment. And we're taught to believe that that's okay. That's just something we need to deal with, when in reality, it's not necessary, and it's something that we don't have to live with. And by making better choices in our home and in our lifestyles, we can actually help remedy a lot of those things. So I would like to challenge the idea that that isn't normal, that I don't want to accept that as normal, and we can do better. And I read something in a book today that I wanted to read to you guys because it was super impactful to me. It just said that, what if the headaches we get and the migraines are from toxic chemicals and shampoos that we use? What if our kids are sick all the time because they have weakened immune systems from the chemicals we use to clean our homes? What if the rampant fertility problems in our country are because of dangerous ingredients in our makeup or our lotions? What if we suffer from anxiety and depression because our bodies are overloaded with toxins? What if this really is true? And what if changing a few things in our lives by deciding to choose natural everyday products could mean better health, more freedom, and less headaches? Research has revealed that toxic chemicals in our daily lives play a role in many serious health issues, and we need to begin taking awareness about this. And so we want to address those issues. We want to address those toxic ingredients that are sneakily hiding in our everyday products, that have these effects on our body systems. And we just want to share about it because it's such an important thing to us, that we want you guys to have that too. And we want to show you how easy it is to learn to become aware of these things and to transition out of it and to choose toxin-free alternatives throughout our daily lives.
So my name is Rebekah, and I started my journey with Young Living years ago. Started with the oils and learned how to use them for everyday health and wellness. And then that led us to learning about chemical-free home and what that looks like and why it's important. And why that is important to me is I want my family to live their best life. I want them to be as healthy as they can be. I want my kids to have a great start at life. And every little thing that I can do to help them live their best lives, I want to do that. And so I've done a lot of research and have been studying, and the more I learn about this, the more passionate I become. And so we're excited to share this with you guys tonight. I just want to say this is not a fear-based presentation. Some of the topics we're going to talk about are kind of heavy and, I don't know, kind of a big deal. They're kind of important, but it's a do better when you know better presentation. And I just want to say a disclaimer. The purpose of this class tonight is educational purposes. We're not healthcare professionals. We do not claim to treat, diagnose, or cure, or prescribe any treatments. As Young Living distributors, tonight we're sharing information we've learned through research and empowered decisions. So we're going to start off with a video. This video is called Healthy Child, Healthy World. Now, we didn't make this video, but we like the content and it goes along with the topic that we're going to share about tonight. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to watch this video together.
So the first time I watched that video, I bawled my face off. So I would love for you guys to think about how that makes you feel, because when I first saw that, it was things I didn't even think of. I never thought about our grass outside until I actually watched that video. And so we don't use Roundup anymore. And when our neighbors are spraying stuff, our kids are inside, because things like that are just a part of our everyday life now, we don't even think about, because it's just so common. It's just what you do. And it's just such, like, it's so weaved into our culture that we don't even realize the toxins that are being exposed to our families day in and day out. So when I watched that, it really shook me up and really hit the mom guilt hard. And I cried a lot. And it just made me realize how small changes really do add up and can make such a difference. So I want to actually talk about toxic chemicals for a second, because they are sneakily hidden into all of our products. In the United States, something happened in 1976. It was called the Toxic Substance Control Act. And what happened at that time was the EAP, or the Environmental Protection Agency, actually grandfathered in between 60,000 and 100,000 toxic chemicals into the market and allowed producers and manufacturers to use these chemicals. The only testing that was done was that if 50% or more of the animals that they had used in their testing facilities with these chemicals died, it was pulled from the shelves. If 49% or less of the animals survived, it was accepted and grandfathered in without question. So there are like toxic chemicals in our products that we use today that have a death rate of 49% that were just absolutely put onto the market, no problem. And I know that that is in the United States, but what happens there happens here also. For example, in Europe, when it comes to cosmetics, there are over 1,400 chemicals banned. In Canada, there's 40. In the United States, there's 9. So people making makeup in the United States are allowed to use like 1,391 more chemicals than they are in Europe, and harmful toxic things that haven't actually been tested. And so it's really hard and it's really frustrating to think of these things that are sneakily in our home. And when you clean your home, you think you're doing good. When I would clean my home and mop my floors, and my husband and I are both very like Monica Geller clean and take pride in our cleaning and our laundry and our scrubbing. And so I always thought that I was doing good by our kids. I always thought that if our house reeked of Mr. Clean and bounce sheets, that I was doing good by them and being a good mother because our house smelled clean. And so when I learned that what I was actually using was harmful to them, I had a lot of like mom guilt, and I felt really bad about it, because it was things that I didn't know. I thought that I was doing a good job. And so it's really important that we can learn these things so that we can make better choices in the future. Sorry, there's like a mosquito or something in here on my arms. So what we put on our skin enters our bloodstream after about 26 seconds. And I was talking to Rebekah about this earlier, that there's no way, like, I don't want anybody to feel guilty or bad if you use bounce sheets or things like I used to. I'm right there with you. I used to put them in my pockets. If my pants were staticky, I'd put them under our bed sheets so that our bed smelled clean. Like, I am not without fault for using these bounce sheets, believe me. But I was thinking, would you rub a bounce sheet all over your liver, like your actual bare liver? Would you rub a bounce sheet on it? Because I'm willing to bet that you wouldn't, because it stinks, because there's stuff on it that you actually don't know what it is, but we put it on our skin all the time. If our laundry has that in there, as soon as we put that on our skin, we're wearing it all day long. And we're sleeping in it all night long. It's off-gassing in our closet all day long. And even like I'll walk by somebody and I can smell like laundry on them. I'm like, that person is smelling that all day long. And when you think that our skin is an organ, much like our liver, because it's like the first line of defense, you wouldn't rub a dryer sheet on your organs, but we do it every single day. And so we're just here to shed some light on all these topics and things. And I'm not sure where I was going with that, so I'm just going to let Rebekah talk now.
So one thing we see happening around us today is, even though we live in a day of advanced medicine and knowledge and access to information, we still see people around us getting sicker and sicker, and actually even younger and younger people being put on medication. And statistics are getting worse. And to me, that doesn't make sense. When we have access to information and healthcare, why are people getting sick or getting sicker? And so statistics are not getting better. So at cancer.ca, 5 years ago, they said that 1 in 4 Canadians will have cancer at some point in their lifetime. And right now, that statistic is 1 in 2. And that's not a good statistic. And so as Young Living members, as people who, are looking for better options, the Young Living journey starts with oils, but then it leads to cleaning up our homes, because those two really pair together well with living your best life and having a safe haven in your home for your families and just creating a safe environment. And so we often hear the term ditch and switch with Young Living, and that means ditch those chemicals, ditch those chemical products, and switch to healthy essential oil infused products that actually help support your health instead of contribute to illness and those statistics that we see happening around us.
So I want to talk a little bit about greenwashing. If you don't know what greenwashing is, it is basically just fooling consumers into thinking that they are doing right, when in fact it's just a trick. So obviously companies study customer behavior and statistics and marketing and all those things, and they know that people are looking for healthier alternatives and people are looking to live more naturally and more eco-friendly and green, which is why it's called greenwashing. And it's really mean is what it is, but we would assume that products that are on the shelves have been safely tested, that if there's baby lotion there for my kid, someone has already done the work to make sure that it's going to be like healthy and okay for my child. But what actually happens is when things are on the shelf, those manufacturers are innocent until proven guilty. These products have not been tested on people or the environment, and only if something arises, if someone has a reaction or an irritation or some type of illness comes up, then the product is tested and looked into and dealt with accordingly. Like Johnson and Johnson, for example, we'll throw that one out there because that one keeps coming up a lot. When they're like baby washes have carcinogens in them, or their baby powder, the talc, is causing like ovarian cancer and cervical cancer and all these things, but those products aren't tested until something like that comes up. And when it comes to greenwashing, companies will advertise that they are natural, that they are safe, when in reality they're sneaking in products that or like ingredients that are actually not good for us. And I have a lot of examples, but I'll give you one that it actually made me really mad. I always use Young Living's dish soap, and I ran out. So I went to the grocery store and I bought, I don't know if I'm allowed, I've been saying names the whole time. It was 7th generation dish soap. And it was the free and clear kind. It had like a green and blue label, and it looked all fresh, and it said like 0 fragrance, no dyes, no parabens, no, I forget what else it said, no triclosan, and like it was like proclaiming to be clean. And so I was like, okay, sweet. Grabbed it, got home, started washing the dishes, and just happened to look at the label, and the second ingredient was sodium lauryl sulfate, which is a carcinogen. And so it had advertised to me that it was like healthy and safe. And so I was like, okay, sweet, this is great for me and my family. And then I looked at the ingredients and they failed to mention that one on the free and clear list and just snuck it right in there. And so that's what happens a lot of times. We are the guinea pigs for these products, and they aren't actually marketing what they really are. And so it takes a lot of work to read all the labels and to learn all the words that you need to like be aware of. Anyway, that's my story about greenwashing.
So one concept I want to talk about is called body burden. And body burden is the accumulation of all the different exposures that we experience from our day-to-day living. So we all have our favorite products, and we tend to stick to the products that we like. And over time, we can end up using those same products for 5, 10, 20, 30, sometimes even more years. And what happens, our bodies are smart. They're designed to heal. They're designed to detox, but our body can only keep up with so much, and it can get overburdened. It can get overtaxed. And that's what body burden is. We end up seeing, our bodies aren't designed to filter out those many toxins. And so, just one sec here. And so the more we can do to eliminate that burden on our bodies and on our livers, the better off we're going to be. What happens when we have body burden? What are some of the signs that you can be looking for? Asthma, headaches, allergies, eczema, rashes, irritated skin, fatigue, and more. That's just a small list. There's way more. So something I hear people say a lot is, oh, it's just a small amount, or I use it all the time and I'm fine, or I don't really think about it. I just buy what's on sale. So we have to think about this. Some ingredients, even at a really, really small concentration, can have a massive impact on our bodies. And I know for me, that's not a risk that I'm really interested in making. Hannah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about is First of all, I would like to apologize for my flightiness. I glance at my notes and then I don't look at them again. And so it's kind of a mess over here. But one thing I do want to talk about is your endocrine system, because first and foremost, that gets impacted the hardest from a lot of these toxic chemicals that we're going to talk about. So the endocrine system in your body is responsible for hormones, a lot of your body systems that include sleep, immune system, reproduction, digestion, energy, metabolism, and more. And hormones work as like a lock and key system, and your body and communication in general. So, you know, when you want to lift your arm, your brain needs to send signals that your arm wants to move to these muscles and back and forth in communication. And so when your body needs estrogen, for example, it's like, hey, I need estrogen over here. And then these cells come along, fit into the receptor sites, and then they go along and do what they need to produce that estrogen and help your body in that way. But a lot of these toxic chemical molecular compounds fit into the cell receptor sites of your hormones. And so your body's like, hey, I need some estrogen over here. And then you just had put, I don't know, deodorant on that had synthetic fragrance or aluminum over your lymph nodes here. So when your body is asking for estrogen, all these toxic chemicals are like, oh, okay. Oh, I fit here. And then your body goes along, thinks that there's estrogen in there, but it's not going to work in the same way. This just happened to fit in there. It's not going to act like the way your body needs it to. And that's where disease takes hold, where disruption takes hold, because your cells aren't communicating in the way that they need to, because these harmful toxins are mimicking what you need. And so these cell receptor sites are getting clogged and jammed with all these other things, and then your body can't actually function properly the way that it needs to.
And so a really cool thing about that, even though that doesn't sound good, this is the good part, is that our body communicates, our cells communicate with each other, our body systems communicate with each other, and they communicate in two ways. One is electrical and the other is chemical, and that chemical is hormones. And when we start using essential oils, they're actually designed to cleanse those receptor sites that can get clogged and gummed up with these synthetic look like hormones. And so the essential oils can actually clean off our receptor sites and help our body systems communicate better and help all the cells communicate better, which I think is just an amazing thing. So another term is called the cocktail effect. And what that means that in isolation, a substance may be relatively safe, but it can be harmful when combined with another substance. And the thing about that is we don't necessarily know what's going to happen when we have these substances mixing in our bodies, and that becomes a chemical cocktail. So we combine substances all the time with the products that we're using, from our hairspray. We spray our hair, we put on our deodorant, we spritz our perfume, then we go wash our dishes, and then we wash our windows. Like, we are just using so many products, and when they get on our skin and in our body, they mix. And we already know you're not supposed to mix bleach and ammonium. So there are other chemicals that are not meant to be blended, but it's actually happening in our bodies. And we actually don't know how that's affecting our bodies. And so they actually say that the average woman puts 515 synthetic chemicals on her body every day without knowing it. That's a lot. So I'm going to touch on a few statistics here. I mentioned at the beginning that statistics aren't getting better. And so we're going to look at a few of them a little closer. So infertility in 1984 was 5%. In 1992, it was 8%. And by 2010, it was over 15%. And I remember seeing this on a graph, and it was going like this. And the thought crossed my mind, like, okay, what's that going to look like in 10, 20, 30 more years? And so through all my research, this is the one that really like pricked my heart the most, because it makes me think of my kids. You know, where is this number going to be when they're wanting to have families of their own, if they decide that that's what they want to do? So I don't want that decision to be made for them. I want, if they want to have kids, I hope that they can have kids. I don't want that decision to be made because of chemical exposures they've had over their lifetime. Another statistic that isn't looking good is cancer. As we already mentioned, it's now 1 in 2. So a friend of mine, her name is Lauren. She's a Young Living member, and that's how I met her, through Young Living. She lost several dear ladies in her life, a couple of her aunts, to cancer. And so she wanted to be proactive. She went to a genetic specialist to see if she carried that gene. And what the genetic specialist told her was that cancer is actually only 5 to 8% genetic. The other 92 to 95% is environmental. And so this specialist told her, listen, that doesn't have to be your story. You need to clean up your life. You need to eliminate as many toxins and unhealthy chemicals as you can from your lifestyle and be proactive with your health. And so that's exactly what she's doing. And I think we can all learn from that, that the more we can do to create safe environments in our family, the better off we're all going to be. And so I think it's important to actually stop and think, are these chemicals and toxins that we're exposed to every day contributing to these rising statistics? And do we have any evidence of body burden or chemical exposure in our own lives?
Sweet. So I want to touch on a little bit of the actual ingredients that you need to watch out for. There are, like, you can Google them and find them. David Suzuki actually has a really good explanation. If you Google David Suzuki's Dirty Dozen, he gets into the top 12 ingredients that are just like highly, highly toxic and in everything that we use. So you're free to research those and look them up, but we're just going to touch on some of them. The first one I want to talk about is fragrance. Fragrance is in anything that has a smell, basically, unless it was used with like Young Living essential oils or crushed up rose petals. Chances are it has fragrance in it. And fragrance is just a catch-all term because manufacturers don't actually have to put the ingredients in when they put fragrance. It could be like, I think I read up to any 4,000 different chemical compounds. But fragrance is a trade secret because, you know, Hugo Boss doesn't want to make perfume and then list all the ingredients that they took to make that perfume, because that is a secret scent to them. They don't want somebody duplicating that, the same way that, you know, if you have like your great aunt's soup recipe that's like a family secret, you don't tell other people because they'll be able to duplicate it and copy that. So manufacturers don't actually have to put on the ingredients what their scents are or how they got them. All they have to do is put fragrance, and then that's a blanket term for over 4,000 different toxic chemicals. So the first thing that you should look out for and run away from is anything that says fragrance on it, which is literally mostly everything. So scented candles, lotions, wax burners, shampoo, perfume, hairspray, essential oils that are not pure, laundry soap, dryer sheets, anything. And there are short-term effects to fragrance. Like, I know if I go down the laundry soap aisle anymore, I get nauseous or I get a headache. You can experience coughing or skin irritations or rash or wheezing or nausea, vomiting, irritability. Those are short-term effects. And we talk about the short-term effects. Like, that's common, you know, certain smells give people headaches, etc. But we don't actually talk about the long-term effects of fragrance. And those are cancer, lung disease, heart disease, reproductive disorders. And because those are like built up over time with body burden and cocktail effect and all these things, sometimes we don't actually piece together that like we can develop diseases later in life due to exposures that happened earlier, because those build up in your body system and you can't cleanse and get rid of them without using essential oils. But anyway, that's fragrance.
One of the hardest things for me to give up when I switched over to chemical free was my perfume. I loved perfume. I'd get a new one every year and just loved it. And after I learned all this stuff, you know, I tucked it away in a drawer. I didn't look at it. I didn't use it. And then I came to the point where I just threw it out because I'm like, I'm not going to wear this again. And one thing I realized it had done to me that I didn't know at the time was it actually ruined my sense of smell. I really couldn't smell things anymore. And after, putting it away, throwing it out, I got my sense of smell back. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that the perfume I was wearing to smell better and to smell fresh and fun was actually ruining my sense of smell. And so that is definitely not worth it. And now when I smell it, I actually get a sore throat. When I walk through the detergent aisle, my throat will get tight. And so that's when I realize, wait a minute, I'm smelling stuff here that's not very good for me. Okay, a couple more ingredients in these products that are really good ones to look for and to avoid. One is triclosan. This is used as an antibacterial agent to prevent and reduce bacterial contamination in products. It's actually a registered pesticide, which is not very cool. Triclosan can affect the endocrine system, lead to birth defects and uncontrollable cell growth. This is found in toothpaste, antibacterial soaps, deodorants, laundry soap, household cleaners, cosmetics, first aid spray, shave gel, and even children's toys. So that's not very cool. Another one is phthalates. This is a low-cost additive to products. This disrupts the endocrine system, interferes with hormones and our estrogen levels, which we all know that's a pretty important hormone for body functions. Phthalates can be found in plastic food packaging, lotions, skin moisturizer, fragrance, cleaners, glues, deodorants, perfumes, colognes, hairspray, air fresheners, laundry detergent, and nail polishes. And that's not even a comprehensive list. That's just some of the popular products that have those ingredients.
So the next one I want to talk about is formaldehyde, which if you took grade 11 biology, you would know that the formaldehyde is what keeps the piggies and the frogs contained in the jar without actually decomposing whatsoever. And formaldehyde is actually recognized by the Cancer Institute as a known carcinogen. It can lead to eye irritations, asthmatic response, skin irritations, headaches, nausea, allergies, and more. And formaldehyde is found in a lot of things, but I'm going to list a couple. One is baby shampoo, pet shampoo, nail polish, body washes, cleansers, eyeshadow, sunscreen, cosmetics, baby wipes, toothpaste, and more. Studies actually show, I don't know how they know this or what study was done, but that bodies are actually decomposing at a slower rate than they were 100 years ago because there's so much formaldehyde in our systems. It's actually keeping our bodies from decomposing the way that they're actually supposed to because it's not real. It's disgusting. Okay, so another one I want to talk about is sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium laureth sulfate. This is the one that was in that dish soap that tricked me, which is my own fault because I didn't read the label. But this is added to create suds and bubbles. It's one thing that we associate with like that squeaky clean. So a lot of dish soaps and hand soaps and that sort of thing have SLS in it. Sometimes it's listed on the ingredients as SLS. It might not actually say sodium lauryl sulfate. But it dissolves oils, and so it leaves your skin and hair dry. It's a skin irritant and a known carcinogen. It's most rapidly absorbed and retained in your brain, your eyes, your heart, and your liver. And it's found in shampoo, body wash cleaners, mascara, acne treatments, dish detergent, and hand soaps. There's just like so many ingredients just hidden into all these things. Even as I was going over this and typing up this class tonight, learning that SLS is put in like acne treatments and that sort of thing just blows my mind because it's just going to dry and irritate people's skin anyway. So it's probably not even going to do what you think it's going to do in the first place. So there's a ton more ingredients to be aware of. Like I said, you can look it up on David Suzuki's Dirty Dozen that have carcinogenic properties: alcohol, aluminum, DEA, propylene glycol, talc, parabens, and so much more. So I wanted to touch a little bit on how I felt as I started to learn these things. I actually downloaded an app. It's called Think Dirty, and it's not as effective as it used to be because a lot of marketing people are buying better results on the app now. But what you could do was you could scan your shampoo with your phone, and it would give you on a scale of 1 to 10 how toxic it was, what ingredients in it were bad, and why. And so when I first started learning about this, I scanned everything in our house. I called my husband while he was at work in like a panic, because I just learned that we were just filling our home and our children with all these toxic ingredients, and I didn't know what to do. And my first gut reaction was to throw everything away and just start brand new and start fresh, which really wasn't feasible for us. So he kind of talked me off the ledge, and then we slowly started to make transitions. But it made me feel really hopeless and angry. I watched Stink, the video on Netflix. It's a documentary about synthetic fragrance, and that made me feel really hopeless. And I would just want you guys to know that I know we're saying a lot of like dark things and a lot of hopeless things, but there is hope and there is good. And there are companies that actually do care about your wellness. So I'll let Rebekah talk about that.
So when I first heard this, I was shocked. I had no idea that there were toxins hiding in my shampoo and my body lotion. But as soon as I learned it, I was like, okay, this is worth paying attention to and making a change. And I know, I'd mentioned the perfume. Another area that I struggled with was mascara. My eyes are very sensitive to what makeup I wear. And I had actually got to the point where I couldn't really wear mascara anymore because I couldn't find one that didn't irritate my eyes or make my eyelids swell up. And so I'd actually go without mascara. And then I find out Young Living has mascara, and I actually super duper love it. It's their new formula with the lengthening and the volumizing are the best ever. So if you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend it. But so Young Living has been around. They're in their 27th year now. They were started in 1993 by Gary and Mary Young. But even before Young Living was founded, Gary and Mary were traveling around and telling people, you need to live chemical free. You need essential oils in your home. And Gary was quoted saying, I don't make product for profit. I make it for purpose. And Young Living started as an essential oil company, and they've advanced into a lifestyle company. And what that means is they have over 600 products ranging from essential oils, personal care products, makeup, baby care, supplements, household cleaning supplies, and more. And they provide us with toxin-free essential oil infused products that actually work. They're actually amazing. People are having life-changing stories come from using Young Living products and getting chemicals and toxins that are harmful out of their homes. And so, Gary's saying I make products for purpose, not for profit. That's like the opposite of what we see around us at the drugstore or at Walmart. Those products, that's about the bottom dollar. That's about that company making money, and they don't care what it does to our bodies. Young Living, the heart of Young Living is just the complete opposite. It is about creating healthy homes and helping people live their healthiest lives. And to me, I love that. I love knowing that I'm partnering up with a company that is, giving us the tools we need to take care of our families. And they are full disclosure on their ingredients. And if they ever need to reformulate a product, they do. And if a product doesn't meet their high quality standards, it doesn't make it to market. And actually, I've kind of, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe the number is only 40% of their essential oils actually make it to market because of the quality. Their seed to seal standard guarantees to us that the product that we get is actually high quality, top quality, and in my eyes, unmatched in the marketplace. But anyway, so since being with Young Living, I started with my oils, transitioning to chemical free. We're not 100%. We still have a few things in our home that we haven't replaced yet. But we're working on it. And I know for myself, for my family, and even for friends that I have who have been working at getting chemicals out, they're seeing really amazing changes in their lives. And to me, that's priceless.
One thing about Young Living and the products they have is because they've gone above and beyond and done all the work and made sure that everything that they're using is safe and nourishing and amazing for our bodies, it takes out that guesswork for me. I have 5 kids. I don't have time to stand in an aisle and read every single label and then Google everything in that label to see if it's safe or if it's okay. And when I think about our home, and I think of myself as the gatekeeper, the same way that I monitor what the kids watch or the music they listen to or the TV shows that they're exposed to. Um, in the same way, I need to be on guard and watching what's going on their bodies and in their bodies, because it's just as important, because it's their bodies. I want them to be as healthy and as pure and as safe as possible. And as the mom and as the gatekeeper, I get to decide what comes into our home and what I'm going to allow my kids to use. And they know that, and they're learning that. And this is actually a little bit embarrassing. We were at a birthday party a couple weeks ago, and it was a girl's birthday party. So all the little treat bags had little lotions in them, and they were hemp's lotions, which is normally like healthy or okay. And it was just a little embarrassing and amazing and proud, I guess, at the same time. The girls were like, there's lotion in here, Mom, can we use this? Like, I don't think I can take this loot bag. This stinks. And while being a tad embarrassing to me at this party, they knew that that had fragrance in it and it was going to be harmful to them. And so by us taking these small steps and slowly educating them even on the importance of toxin-free living, it helps create an empowering, safe space for us, because we get to take our health into our own hands. We get to control, what's in our home that used to be filled with headaches and skin irritations and like so many other things that we don't have to treat anymore. We don't buy puffers anymore. We rarely buy painkillers anymore. We never buy cough syrup. Just like all the things that used to be normal aren't normal to us anymore. And so it seems like switching to a natural toxin-free lifestyle would be expensive. But when you think about it, we're not buying so many of the other remedies that we used to have to, or like the skin creams and the like what's it called? Hydrocortisone or whatever it's called, that cream when you have skin irritations. Like we don't buy that stuff anymore like we used to have to. And so it's really not an expensive switch over, because we're actually relieving so many of those other symptoms that we were exposing our families to. So
yeah, I agree. I don't go to that aisle in the drugstore anymore. There's so many things that I used to buy, sick care products, that we just don't need anymore. And so that's amazing to me. So Canadians actually on average spend $1,600 a year on products that may actually be making us sick and contributing to the condition of body burden. We also spend $700 a year on personal care products, makeup, skincare, fragrance products, hygiene, and hair products. And I feel like that might actually be a modest number, especially for larger families. I think that number is actually quite a bit higher. Canadians also spend $200 to $300 a year on cleaning supplies. So think about this. When we buy things, when we choose the products that we are going to bring into our home, think about those dollars as votes. What products are you voting for with your dollars? And who is getting your dollars?
So my favorite way to shop through Young Living is Essential Rewards, which most of you on this call are on Essential Rewards anyway, so you know what I'm talking about and how amazing it is. So Young Living actually has a monthly subscription box, much like FabFitFun, or I don't know what they're called, Ipsy, Bark Box, those things where you pay and then you get sent products every month in a box. But you don't get to choose them. You just get what you get and you don't get upset. Whereas with Young Living, it's customizable. It's literally just monthly shopping. But when you do it on a monthly auto ship as a thank you, they give you reward points back. They give you cheaper shipping and all these other free products and amazing things. which actually add up really quickly. So I'll buy laundry soap and supplements and toothpaste one month, and then the next month I can buy more supplements and essential oils and shampoo for free because I earned it on points. And so we always shop with Essential Rewards because we get points back. So it actually makes our shopping ridiculously cheap. For every $100 we spend, we get $25 back, which is like ridiculously generous. So I always shop on Essential Rewards. We always order all our things. Like, I literally go to the grocery store now for food. That's it. Like, we buy our supplements from Young Living, our cleaning supplies, all of our personal care products, like everything, our mouthwash, our bars of soap, our floss, like everything comes from there except our food. And so it's amazing and wildly generous. Like, I can't imagine the grocery store giving me 25% back on all my food every time I buy stuff. So it's literally our favorite way to shop. And I want you guys, in regards to this, like how Melanie said here about how the book that she read made her a little crazy for a while, learning about all these toxins and things that surround you, because it does. And it can be overwhelming and disheartening to think, like, how am I going to remedy this? How am I going to fix this? And I was kind of comparing it today when I was talking to Rebekah to a staircase. Like, when you're at the bottom of the stairs and you're looking at the top, it seems so far away and so hard to attain that you can get so discouraged just by looking up at the top that you don't even want to climb, because you're like, well, that's too far, that's too hard, I'm not going to achieve that right away. Whereas if you think about it in tiny steps, like, you know, maybe you run out of Crest toothpaste or Colgate toothpaste or whatever kind you use that month, you buy Thieves toothpaste and you take a step. And the next month you run out of laundry soap and you replace it with Thieves laundry soap. So you take another step. And just slowly, as these things come up, taking those steps to your end goal. It doesn't need to be like a huge, massive overhaul where you swap out all your products at once, which you absolutely can if you are able to. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that overwhelming. The whole point of this entire discussion was just to help you guys understand and be able to know better so that you can make better choices, because I didn't know better before I started researching and learning these things. I used to slather my babies in that pink Johnson & Johnson soap or lotion that like makes them smell more babyish, because I thought that would make them smell more like a baby and it would be good. I didn't realize I was slathering fragrance all over their tiny little bodies that don't even have absorption barriers yet. And I thought that I was doing good. So I don't want people in any way to feel discouraged by choices we've made. This whole point is to try and empower you to make better choices moving forward. So as you're climbing that staircase, when a decision comes, you can know better and do better next time, because we can't do better unless we know better. And so we just want to help educate and empower you guys to be able to make better choices moving forward. Oh, sorry, I'm going to talk more. So next, we are going to watch a video. This is a Young Living family. Their last name is the Coopers, and they just have a really powerful story about environmental change and swapping out toxins in their home and what kind of victories those led to. So Rebekah is going to screen share with us, and then we are going to learn from the Coopers.
I'm Brian Cooper.
I'm Amanda Rose Cooper, and we've been in Young Living since 2014.
Amanda and I met in 2007 at a wedding reception, and it was pretty much love at first sight.
We were married within 5 months. A few years into all of this, we were getting ready to have baby number 4, and we moved into a new home, and shortly thereafter, a lot of us started to become sick. Within a few weeks, we brought home the baby and she started coughing. And then a few months after that, our son was 3 years old at that time, and he began having a lot of respiratory issues, sick all of the time. It was hard for us to leave home. He was misdiagnosed with 2 autoimmune disorders. He, at that point, was throwing up every day. He had unexplained fevers.
So working constantly and seeing the struggle that she went through was very, very hard. Her calling almost every day on the phone saying, I can't do this. It was hard trying to provide, but also being away from the home.
At that point, Nathan started asking if he could actually go to heaven because he was in so much pain every day. And as a mom, I felt really helpless. I didn't know what I could give him. One night, I knelt by his bed and I just prayed that God would show me something that I could do for him. I went back to my room and my dad had emailed me a story of another family who was using essential oils to help their bodies with their healthy immune systems, and I was intrigued. So I looked at Brian and I said, can we try one more thing?
I said, yes, whatever it takes.
We discovered there was toxic black mold in our home. And our eyes began to be opened as to all the symptoms we were all experiencing at that point. So as a mom, I started to think, if something in my own home was making him sick, maybe there would be other things in our environment that I needed to switch out to allow his body to heal. So I started to switch out many different things in our house, the cleaners, the shampoos, the nutritional side, and became a whole lifestyle switch. I think it's every mom's worst fear to not be able to help our child stay well. And now, knowing that I have tools in my own home to be able to care for my children, it just takes all the guesswork out. I love how I feel empowered, and I know what to do to care for my children. During that first year, I was really focused on just getting my children healthy and changing our lifestyle and helping them specifically. For over 12 years, I was a piano teacher, but when my children became sick, I had to shut down my business. And there was a part of me that felt like it was missing now. I felt like there was still more of me I wanted to be able to share with the world, but I was torn because teaching from home had become more difficult, and also I wanted to stay home with my children still. So I started to really look into what the Young Living opportunity was and how that might help us financially.
She said, I feel like I need to share this with other people. People need to know our story, and I think I can help a lot of people, and I want to do the business. And so I said, okay, not really thinking it was going to go anywhere. There was a time when she came in and she put a check down on the table, and I was like, okay, I need to rethink this.
Young Living was running a promotion at that time, and I wanted to achieve it, and we did. And so that made me feel very excited to keep going forward and just see where this could go. We work from home, and one of my favorite parts now is that not only has our story changed, I have seen thousands of other stories change. And just being able to help them get oils in their home or natural products and be able to watch all these families' lives transform has been the greatest gift.
One night she sat down, she said, I don't know why we're going through all of this with our son especially, but I know that if our story can help just one other family, it'll be worth it. And being able to help thousands of people now is awesome.
We are the Coopers, and this is our Young Living transformation story.
So I love that story. I love to hear the changes that happened in their home. And that is the new normal with Young Living. I see story after story of families who are seeing breakthroughs in their health, in their children's lives, or in the lives of the parents because of essential oils and the toxin-free products. And so thank you so much for joining us tonight. We just love our oily community. We love connecting with each one of you and getting to learn and grow together. So I hope you got some good value out of the content tonight. And I want to challenge you to share this with your loved ones. And if you need to take another step, even in your own life, of making it even cleaner for your family, then I challenge you to do that. Each step that we can take makes a difference. And sometimes we think that little changes don't make a difference, or they're not going to add up. Well, that's not true. They do. Every change that we make makes a difference, no matter how big or small it is. So I want you to remember that we can make a difference, one home at a time. And the more that you know about these harmful chemicals, the more you can safeguard yourself and those that you love. So that's because you matter, your family matters, your friends matter, and you are the gatekeeper